warm ahead of the snow coming through. And so the precipitation actually, I think, is moving a little faster than maybe a few days ago. We're starting to spread some of that moisture up into the mid-levels. That'll eventually start to work its way down towards the surface as we go through at least, say, the next couple of hours. I would expect to start seeing some light precipitation reach the ground as well. So one of the places that actually would be seeing some flakes right now, if you look closely, yeah, there you go. So that's Blowing Rock. They're getting a little band of snow to come through there, and you can see how fine it is. Pretty dry air still. But they're getting some flakes flying around into mountains where it is cold enough to support some of that snow. Here in the Triad, that is not the case. Temperature is actually pretty mild in the Triad. Here's a beautiful shot there of Forsyth County and Winston-Salem this evening. All is quiet on the western front, so to speak, as we wait for that next system to head our way. So it's 43 right now at PTI, the dew point at 36. Getting closer and closer together, and so that means our moisture levels are increasing, and we should start to see again the rain that is currently falling into those mid-levels start to reach the ground. So as far as current conditions go, temperature is quite mild. Look at Winston-Salem, Lexington, Salisbury there. We're looking at 45 degrees, so mid-40s here at 10 o'clock at night in the wintertime. That's very mild. Our average for this time of year near the low 30s, and yeah, we're not there. Upper 30s even up further to or north. So still some very mild temperatures we'll continue to see. I think those temperatures in the mid 40s or lower 40s as we go towards midnight. That'll be our high, and then temperatures are going to fall as we go through the day tomorrow. So what we're waiting for is the next punch of cold air. That is what is going to be our transition mechanism over to some snow. Not so much dynamically driven as saying there's dry air, precip moves in, we get dynamic cooling, and we start to get that quick transition from rain to snow. This is more so the cold air catching up to the precip and starting to transition it over to some snow. So these are current temperatures. Look how cold it is outside. Chicago 14, 16 in St. Louis. Yeah, that's going to be a cold Bears game there. They're playing that at home tomorrow night. Very chilly for the NFL there. Mid-20s in Cincinnati, 31 in Nashville. So what we're looking at is you can see we're in the 40s here in the Triad, right? Upper 40s Atlanta down towards Montgomery, Alabama. But notice here, again, the very, very cold air. So probably somewhere here back towards the west. We're looking at a secondary front, and that's the front we're waiting on to bring us the next shot of colder temperatures. Had this been happening maybe now, the cold front was coming through, bringing in the cold air, and then we brought the precip in, yes, we would be looking at better snow chances. But we have the warm air we have to kind of get rid of, so to speak, to see that transition to snow occur. So that's what we're dealing with. We're waiting on that cold air to catch us, so to speak, as we go through the next couple of hours, really more than the next couple of hours. Next couple of hours, we'll start to see that precip move in. Temperatures then really start to fall, especially by mid-morning. Look at that. You've got the mid-30s. Start off the morning in the mid-40s, midnight, and then by the afternoon we're in the mid-30s. So kind of one of those upside-down temperature days, if you will, mid-30s by the afternoon. And, of course, that means the colder air will then be entering into town. So you can see that drop really starts to kind of pick up there 7 to maybe 10 o'clock. And I think that's when we start to see maybe that transition over to some of the snow from, say, the rain showers. So rain will become more steady as we go through the overnight hours into the early morning hours of your Sunday. We will have plenty of precipitation over in the morning. However, how quick does the cold air hit us? Again, I think somewhere between 7 to 10 o'clock, we could see some of that come through. We do have that weather impact alert day for tomorrow morning through the afternoon. Really, I think it's going to be after midnight through tomorrow afternoon, midday maybe. The precip's out of here by tomorrow night. The one thing I do want to mention is roads could be slick because we could get refreeze of anything that falls, right? Whether it's sopping wet roads from the rain or maybe some slush from a rain-snow mix or even just the wet snow that is to come and melting. If that stays on the roads and we see them wet and we go into tomorrow night, temperatures are going to drop very quickly. That could cause flash freezing and black ice on the roads early on Monday. So if you're going to catch maybe the monks coming into town, you're going to MLK festivities, parades, observances, watch out. Thankfully, most of the schools are out, so we really don't have to worry about that. And it's a holiday, so some people get to stay home. So if you get to stay home, stay home. Maybe this system will overperform a little bit for you, and you'll have something to play in. Don't hold your expectations too high, as we've been telling you, though. So that's what I wanted to tell you there with that. So what does our planner kind of look like? It breaks down like this. Temperatures in the morning, starting off mild. We fall to the mid-30s through kind of the mid-morning through the afternoon. That's when we could see that burst of snow kind of hit us and then leave us very quickly as we go towards the evening hours tomorrow. We clear out those skies. Temperatures drop very quickly as well. So if we check on things currently, I want to show you the humidity, because the relative humidity kind of shows us in a way how close to saturation we are, right? If you're at 100% saturation, it's probably raining. If you're in the upper 80s, lower 90s, you could probably get some of that rain to the ground. So what I'm showing you this is we still have a little bit of some dry air to overcome. I think eventually over the next couple hours, we'll see these light radar returns start making it to the ground, and then better coverage of rain moves in as we go on later and later in the evening. So here's our current system. It is cooking, and it is continuing to produce scattered showers all across much of the southeast. And that back edge of the cooler air, maybe back towards western Kentucky right now. It looks like western Kentucky into maybe western Tennessee. If you look closely, you can see maybe a little bit of some snow shower activity there. So this could be our cooler air. And again, it's trying to catch this precipitation that's streaming in from the south and west from a developing area of low pressure. Here in the Triad, if we turn on our winter radar, not seeing any winter returns, so to speak. It's just too warm. Temperatures in the mid-40s. You're not going to support snow that way. Into the mountains, however, remember we saw a few flakes flying around there in Blowing Rock in North Carolina. So yes, you see that little band of snow popping through the mountains there. It is, of course, cold enough to support the snow. They're in higher elevation. A good batch of precipitation, though, heading towards the I-77, I-85 corridors, maybe towards the Queen City over the next couple of hours, and then, of course, up into the Triad. The question is, how quickly do we see that cold air punch in? That's really what we're waiting for. So let's break down Futurecast. Here we are through the overnight hours. You start to see that rain move in. Again, I think a few hours before midnight, we'll start to see some of that rain reaching the ground. And then we're going to see the colder air try to play catch up here. So this is very, very early on Sunday morning. We're talking 1 o'clock in the morning, right? Temperatures in the 40s. By the time we get towards 6 o'clock, temperatures are still in the upper 30s, lower 40s. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's hard for it to snow at that temperature, at least hard for it to stick, right? Because we need those surface temperatures kind of at freezing or below to help things stick. And we're just going to have temperatures in the mid-30s, not so much the lower 30s or below freezing as we go through the morning hours tomorrow. So we're pretty mild. And it looks like it's done, right? But we're not done. We're actually going to see a second wave develop and move in, and that is going to couple itself with the deeper push of cold air. So again, this is 1050 is what this is indicating. So I really think anywhere from about maybe push it to 11 o'clock, right? 7 to 11 o'clock or 8 to 11 o'clock. We're going to see this transition take place that mid-morning hours tomorrow. So maybe not necessarily when you leave to go to services, if you do so, or if you're doing morning errands, but maybe towards the mid-morning, early afternoon, we want to start thinking of maybe I should get off the roads, especially if we do see this take place where we convert everything over to snow very quickly and rapidly, and that snow sticks around into the early afternoon hours. Then yes, we could get some of that slushy accumulation on roads, and so it could be a little slow driving here and there. I don't think we're going to see massive impacts, but because of that transition possible to snow, and even the light accumulation could make traveling a little difficult, so we will issue that weather impact alert day for you into the day tomorrow. So low to mid-30s is what we're looking at through the afternoon. That precipitation is still holding on there. But by the time we get towards tomorrow evening, bye-bye precip, And then shortly after that, the clouds are gone and temperatures will drop pretty quickly into those 20s. So that's 11:30 at night. We're in the upper 20s, lower 30s. That's a big difference than where we are tonight, right? And we're going to see those temperatures continue to fall into the lower 20s as we go into the morning hours of our Monday. So Martin Luther King Jr. Day, looking pretty chilly to start. We do warm up though, so I will say if we have patchy black ice on those roads or maybe secondary roads, then it's going to melt pretty quickly. We'll have lots of sunshine to enjoy and temperatures will warm us up into the 40s. So what's our best chance scenario here, right? We're looking at about a trace to a half an inch. I still feel confident with that. Other forecasts may be going up a little higher, buying maybe some more of the bullish model runs. But it has been in my experience in forecasting, if you change your forecast at the last second, then you usually get bit. So I'm going to stick with the trace to half an inch. And our second most likely thing is it stays rain, right? The cold air doesn't even reach us. It's going to be a bust. The boom, not very, very likely at this point. Half an inch to 2 inches there maybe or so. And so I just don't think you see that with this system. The cold air would have to catch us faster. And even if it does catch us faster, it's still not going to amount to crazy amounts because it's warm. It's during the day. Both of those really hard to accumulate snow. So here is the forecast. Without further ado, the performance, right? Presenting our snow forecast. So this is what you can most likely expect. We're talking flakes flying from the air, anything flakes flying through the air to maybe half an inch of slushy, wet snow accumulation, or even just some wet roads there as the slush kind of melts off. If anything is left wet tomorrow night, though, again, the flash freezing is something we're going to have to watch out for. But that'll be mainly on those grassy, elevated surfaces. We're not necessarily looking at impacts so much on the roads until we get to tomorrow night. So the accumulation tomorrow most likely will be on those grassy, elevated surfaces. So the impact, trace to half an inch of snow possible on those grassy, elevated surfaces I just said. Temperatures then drop quickly tomorrow night into Monday morning, and that will produce the ability to produce black ice, which is fun for nobody, right? So that's kind of what we're dealing with there. I'll show you the 7-day forecast real quick, which shows that we will stick in this cold pattern. So if you don't like the cold weather, sorry, we are going to have to deal with it a little bit longer here. You can see into MLK Day, high around 45. So sunshine, that'll help get rid of any of those icy spots that we may see develop into the early morning hours of our Monday. And then we keep it cool as we go into next week. So that's what we've got brewing for you as far as the latest on the forecasts. Make sure you stay right here, and Ryan will have the updates for you tomorrow morning, and then I'll be back in tomorrow evening. We'll see what happens, right? Keep your expectations low, but if you get a little more snow, enjoy it, and be safe as you do so.